Good morning, everybody. Uneducated economist here. So yesterday I put out a video talking about Bitcoin, and I thought it would be good to do a little history, my history with cryptocurrencies, and what my experiences have been with them. And I guess to start off, the first time I had ever heard of Bitcoin was, I think it was Max Kaiser. Max Kaiser was doing an interview talking about this new online currency, Bitcoin. And so I listened to the interview, and I had a really hard time trying to wrap my head around this Bitcoin. And but I thought, well, I guess the best way to learn about this is to go ahead and try and get one of these Bitcoins. Now, at the time, they were around $18. Yeah, a little less than $20 for a Bitcoin. When the first time I was trying to get one, and I was going to get two of them. I was going to get two, and I was going to throw them around and learn how to use them. And one of the main things I really liked about this was that they were promoting it as like an anonymous currency. Like, you couldn't be tracked, or nobody would know that you were using this, right? And so I thought, okay, cool. So I downloaded a wallet, right? So I had the Bitcoin wallet on my machine, on my computer. Got it updated, so it was got the blockchain updated on there, and it was ready to use. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to go get me a Bitcoin now. So I went and got a couple of prepaid gift cards, like Visa gift cards, and I went out onto the internet to try and find somebody who would sell me a Bitcoin, and I could not do it anonymously, meaning I had to like register or do something. I mean, I spent all day trying to do this, and I could not find a way to buy a Bitcoin without putting my name in. And so I just kind of eventually just gave up on the idea, because I really wanted to buy this Bitcoin without using my name. I wanted it to be anonymous. And so I just kind of gave up on the idea of buying a Bitcoin when I couldn't do it anonymously. And but I did keep track of it, and kind of watch what was going on with it. And this was like the days of Mt. Gox. And that was like really the only exchange out there that was dealing in Bitcoin where you could exchange Bitcoin for cash. And so I watched how Mt. Gox rose to like an exponential. Like, I couldn't believe how many people were getting into this Mt. Gox and trading this Bitcoin. And then one day it was over, right? Mt. Gox realized that they did not have the Bitcoin that they thought they had, and eventually the exchange failed, and a bunch of people lost their money. And that was like the first Bitcoin scam that I had ever really ever heard of. And I thought, yeah, that's it. Bitcoin's done. And it lost a lot of value. It went down to like $1. It was like, it got really cheap. And then it started coming back. And so I was tracking this, and I was watching. I'm like, wow, this Bitcoin stuff it's not going away. It's really interesting, And so I kept, by this time it was probably 2013, 14, somewhere around there. And I was watching an interview, and this guy was talking about a cryptocurrency called Quark. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try this again. I'm going to try and get me some Quark. And he talked about how if you signed up with a company called Coinbase, that you could link your bank account with Coinbase and then buy Bitcoin, send the Bitcoin over to an exchange called Cryptsy, and over at Cryptsy you could exchange it for Quark. So I did this big process, right? It took me like 2 weeks. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I signed up for Coinbase. Eventually got my bank account logged in with them. I bought some Bitcoin, sent it over to Cryptsy, exchanged it for Quark. And I thought, cool. And then I downloaded a Quark wallet, and I sent that Quark from the exchange over to the Quark wallet. And I thought, okay, well, this is pretty cool. This is a lot of fun. I was able to get the whole thing done. It took me like a month, right, to figure this whole process out, because I had no idea what I was doing. There was nobody there to like help me. All I knew was that I needed to use Coinbase and Cryptsy. So anyway, I was playing around over at Cryptsy, and I was playing around with something called Doge. I saw this one come up. Like, all of a sudden, it was just like there was this Doge on the scene, and so I bought some Doge, and And I bought a bunch of other different types of cryptocurrencies, and I probably like, I don't know, I think I was playing with like maybe $100 worth at the time, um, of Bitcoin over at Cryptsy. And then one day I couldn't log into Cryptsy. It was over, right? And he said, hey, I've been hacked or whatever. For whatever reason, I couldn't log in, and all my money was gone. All my cryptocurrency was all locked up there at Cryptsy, and I couldn't get into it. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, that figures, I mean, I thought it was a scam to begin with, and turned out I got scammed out of my money too, just like the Mt. Gox thing. But I had like $10 left over at Coinbase, and it was after that point that Bitcoin started to drop again, like seriously drop in value, and it hit like a very deep lull for a long time. And I had just like by that point I only had a couple of bucks left over at Coinbase, and the Cryptsy account I didn't even care about by that point because everything had crashed so far down that, even if I was to get my cash value of my cryptocurrency, it would have been like, 15, 20 bucks or something. So I just didn't even stress it. I didn't get in with the FBI, class action lawsuit, that the FBI was investigating on and stuff like that. I was like, I don't care. It wasn't worth it to me at the time. And then, of course, Bitcoin starts rolling back, and runs up to $20,000. Right? So I guess at that point, I wish I kind of had that Cryptsy account back because it was probably worth quite a bit of money. But that $10 that I had left over at Coinbase, that really started to move a couple years ago, right? What I had left over there. And I saw there was something called Ethereum that had popped up in the Coinbase account. So I sold a little bit of that Bitcoin and I bought some of that Ethereum. And that was when Ethereum was like at $10 or something like that. And it runs all the way up to like, I don't know, $25 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I made some money off of it, so I sold like half the Ethereum, what a dumb move. But I was just kind of playing around with this stuff, and I realized, oh my gosh, this stuff is really starting to come back. And then that's when it rolled up to the $20,000. So that was kind of my experience with cryptocurrencies. And in the meantime, like I've been buying like little bits of it here and there. I rarely, like, if I put more than like $50 towards cryptocurrencies, that is a very rare occasion. I buy very small increments of cryptocurrencies. Mainly I was playing around with the Ethereum. When I did put some money into it, I wanted to get some Ethereum so I could buy some tokens because I wanted to learn how to buy tokens. And that turned out to be a little harder than I was anticipating. They didn't want to sell tokens to Americans. They don't want to sell them to anybody who's a United States citizen. So it was kind of difficult to get a lot of these Ethereum tokens that I tried to just purchase. I didn't care if they were scams or not. I just wanted to buy a bunch of them. It didn't matter. And so I did end up with a few Ethereum tokens. I ended up with one called, well, I can't remember what the name of it, but the ticker is CDX. It's easy for me to remember because of like the half-inch CDX, but it's called CDX, and it's an advertising token. And the other one is GreenMed, and it has to deal with the facilitation of sales of marijuana through dispensaries and stuff. So anyway, those were the two tokens that I had purchased just to try and play around with the Ethereum wallet and learn how tokens work. And Litecoin ended up being my choice. That's the one that I have been buying the most of. So if I was to if anybody was to ask me which one I'm investing in, I guess I would be investing in Litecoin, although I don't really consider it investing. It's speculation at best. But I really like Litecoin only because when you listen to Charlie Lee, the dude is very serious when it comes to his projects. The guy worked for Google, he worked for Coinbase, he's working this Lightning Network. The guy is into this stuff, and he really, really wants to see the advancement of cryptocurrencies move into the day-to-day commerce, and he is certainly facilitating that possibilities with this Lightning Network and whatnot. So I really like Charlie Lee. Now, there is a lot of talk about Charlie Lee selling out because when Litecoin, the coin that he developed, reached an all-time high, he pretty much sold out, which was really smart considering that he took all this cash and he's now using that cash to do other projects with as far as advancement of the cryptocurrency ecosphere. So, I mean, I have to give it to Charlie Lee. I think the guy is top notch personally. So that's where I'm putting my money behind. If I was to put my money into a cryptocurrency, which, like I said, it's very small incremental amounts, but yeah, Litecoin is my choice. So anyway, I guess that's probably all I have to say for this morning. I'll let you guys take a look at the river here for a little bit. Uneducated economist. You guys have a good morning.